Hey you guys, it's Rachel here with Senza Cane Corso. So I'm here with Trinity's litter. These guys are fully weaned now, just like the others, and getting big and chunky. I'm seeing some really beautiful heads in here, and I think we got that from the Derium. So Alpha has Derium, and so does Trinity. And so we got some pretty good heads in here, and that's exciting. I think that's the female right there that I'm looking at. She has a pretty good head too, so I'm very excited about that. So anyway, so yeah, their mom is fully weaned, they are fully weaned, and she's safe to to dry up, and she's outside and kind of getting some exercise. I've got her in a larger kennel so that she can kind of get some exercise and kind of get her body back and help her just kind of dry up a bit. So, and then she is going to be retired. So, so Trinity is going to be available for somebody that's interested in her. So anyway, all of these puppies are spoken for, and I'm trying to talk kind of low because my macaw's in the other room, and we're trying to keep him quiet so he doesn't wake up all the other puppies in the house, because it's been quite the orchestra having this many litters in the house. So this is a first for me. I've never had this many. So anyway, I think I do still have one puppy available. I have one female available in my Velocity litter. So anyway, as far as personality goes, they all really seem to be quite similar. I've not seen anybody that's particularly dominant because, well, they really just seem to be very similar, all similar sizes. And I think there's, I don't know, maybe this brindle and this brindle here, I think are pretty dang big, and there's a black one there. So all the males, but for the most part, there's no real size advantage. So they're all pretty evenly matched, if you will. So they've been honestly pretty civil, and I haven't had any like food aggression or anything like that. They are going to be leaving at 8 weeks, and so I think they're going to be 6 weeks old in about 5 days. So we're not going to have that much more time with them. But what I will do is one of my videos where I take each puppy and we'll do the vaccination, and it'll be like a live stream, and then we will try to stack them out and just, kind of assess them and discuss structure and, and kind of how we do things and why we do the things that we do, and, all that good stuff. So, there's one other brindle female that is in here that I was looking at. I don't know where she's at in here, though. She always blends in. But anyway, I really like this black girl here with you see how she's looking at me? She's just watching, cool as a cucumber. She's just keeping an eye. She's got a big old wide head. So, I just love how she's like sitting up on her shoulder. It's just too funny. I like this one here too, but she's on the smaller side, and as I told you guys, I'm specifically looking for size because of the fact that Trinity is not a small female, but she definitely needed to be bigger for me not to have to worry about issues with her carrying litters from the males that I have. And so I've got Switch. Switch has fantastic structure. She's a Trinity daughter out of Mad Mortigan and Trinity. And so this breeding was for genetic diversity. And then I was going to also, like I said, go on size, particularly because the father is also not necessarily bred on really big lines. So he's bred on very traditional lines, but he's not necessarily bred for size. So there is the ability for there to be size. I don't want to say that. But they weren't bred, like they just, the size just isn't on both sides of the pedigree like that. So like that's why these puppies are not as big as my Nirvana puppies, because they're only, I think they're 3 days apart. And so, and just not one single female in here even comes close to my two biggest females, the two brindle females. All the black ones are actually very similar. They are around this size, but the two brindle females are just out of this world. So, anyway, so that's just kind of what I'm doing and kind of where my process has been, and in regards to this particular litter. And so I'll do the same thing with Nirvana's litter. Her puppies are also completely weaned, and so we're hoping that that they that they make their owners happy, and that they're everything that we're hoping that they would be, because they'll be leaving even a little sooner than these guys. So, and they're all ready to go in their homes. And we do try to handle them as much as possible. And as you can see, just kind of get them all used to it and get them used to the sounds of, being in a house. And if we do hear any ruckus, we come in and we let them know. So one of the things that we'll do is kind of, if we have a particularly unruly puppy, is we'll take them, just kind of lay them on their back like a baby, and just kind of hold them there till they settle. And then we'll put them back. And so just kind of get them used to the idea of calming down and kind of, chilling out, and that behavior is not okay. And, and it works. They chill out. I did it with, I don't have to do it with all of them, but there was a female in my last litter, Big Bertha. And she was very much like that. She was a very dominant female. And so I had to do that with her. And, she's the one dog that I didn't hear anything about. A couple of those dogs, those males, I've had to kind of help the owners with some stuff. And that's what I do. It's literally for the life of the dog. I'll always give advice and stuff like that. It's never a problem. And I always hope that people do contact me, because, my advice, I believe, is going to be better than just some random trainers. And I've often found that to be true. So, anyway, they're all doing fantastic, but they were a tough batch of puppies, man. They were very, very traditional in their temperament, very much their father. Normally, I only get like one in a preacher litter that acts like him, but that litter I had a couple of them, and they're fine. You just have to be. You don't get to coddle them. You don't get to baby them. You don't get to, go easy on them. You have to be tough from day one. And they will absolutely take advantage of you. And so as long as you know that, and you just don't take it personal, you don't overthink it, you just set boundaries, you set limitations, you discipline when necessary. And literally it's, you're fine. And then they grow up, and there's a saying, and it says, if you win every battle, you can't lose the war. And so, that's what I do. And it works. And so it's something that is important when you're dealing with very, very dominant dogs, right? You don't have to do that with all of them. But those ones, the ones that are very dominant, and they're constantly wanting to, like, they take every situation to challenge you. And it's not like a challenge like they want to bite you. It's a challenge to your authority. And so they just won't listen. They'll blatantly not listen. And they may growl or something like that, or even possibly snap at you if you've been letting them get away with too much, because they're young and they just don't have, they're impulsive and they don't have good judgment. And so you do have to be tough. And I try, whenever I talk to people who've never had a Corso, they never had a powerful breed, and then they want a male. And it's like I tell them, you've got to be very mindful, because it's not guaranteed that you will get a male like that. Many of them are not. You know what I mean? Many of them are much easier than that. But you never know what you're going to get whenever they're young. And so you need to be able to handle anything, because you could get anything. And so you have to be prepared for the worst case scenario, which for some is not the worst case scenario. For me, those dogs don't bug me. They don't, because like I said, I don't take it personal, and I'm very, I'm just very clear with those dogs that, they know that I cannot be manipulated. And so they just don't try. And I know how to handle it without being emotional and without being like even necessarily disciplinarian. Like, it's a discipline, but not in a way that the dog thinks of it. So like the way that Vader has tried to like run off every time we're outside. Well, I just took away his privilege of running off and just put him on a leash. No big deal, passive, right? Because I'm not being mean. I'm not saying anything to him. It's just very simple. He's on a leash. And he has to basically learn to be obedient with me while we're on the property, since he wants to be that way. And very few dogs are like that. But if he's going to be like that, then he just won't have that freedom. And so for me, it's not personal, right? It's just very logical. It's a very simple thing. So anyway, so it's just, I don't know, a little info on this breed and kind of how to handle them whenever you have a particularly spicy one. So, anyway, these guys are out for the count, and I'm going to let her get to bed. So I hope you guys are having a good night, and I'll talk at you later. Bye.